War. What is it good for? Absolutely, actually, probably entertainment, now that I think about it. This is Movie Night. Hello and welcome to Movie Night. I'm your host, Jonathan Paula. On tonight's episode, per your suggestions from Facebook and Twitter last week, we will be highlighting two classic war films. The first of which is the 1979 Vietnam epic from director Francis Ford Coppola, Apocalypse Now. Martin Sheen stars as Special Forces Officer Captain Willard, a disenchanted and troubled army vet who is tasked with heading downriver into the Cambodian jungle to find Colonel Kurtz, played by Marlon Brando, a Special Forces officer himself who is feared to have gone rogue. This is a movie with a tremendous reputation. Brando showed up late on set, unprepared and drastically overweight. Sheen himself suffered a heart attack and had to be replaced by his brother for some long shots and voiceovers. And Coppola struggled for years to edit the film after shooting over 200 hours of footage for just the 3-hour movie. Apocalypse Now is as epic as it is iconic. The film opens without any titles or credits of any kind to an impressively edited montage of Willard's face superimposed over images and unearthly sounds of slow-motion helicopters bombing a tree line in Vietnam, with the sounds of the Doors' The End echoing ominously in the background. Visually speaking, this film was beyond astounding. Every shot is meticulously framed, focused, and lit, beautifully capturing all of the sights and sounds of a real war zone. It's no surprise then that of its 8 Oscar nominations, the 2 that it took home were for sound and cinematography. Scene to scene, this film is engaging, thought-provoking, disturbing, and yet it remains entertaining. An early and now famous scene in the movie features Robert Duvall as Colonel Kilgore and his fleet of helicopters launching an attack on a Vietnam Hell beach, blasting the sounds of Richard Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries as the bombs drop on the small village. The imagery is impressive and well executed. Unfortunately though, when these individual scenes are glued together into a 202-minute film, they begin to lose their effectiveness. The all-star cast also features appearances by Harrison Ford, Lawrence Fishburne, and Dennis Hopper, only further solidifying that this movie's parts are indeed greater than its sum. There are a number of sequences that, although fascinating, linger on for much too long, and fail to forward the plot in any capacity. When the third act finally does arrive, the characters that we're left with are so beat down and apathetic about their situation, it's difficult to really empathize with their position or motives. Coppola takes us from an inspiring high to a delusionally self-serving low, where the movie just drags on with slow-paced scenes of character babble that are beyond boring. There is certainly something to be said about a director who sticks to his artistic vision without trepidation, but in this instance, it only serves to ruin a masterpiece of war-inspired cinema. Apocalypse Now, impressively epic, but dreadfully pompous. Well, those are my thoughts on the film. Now let's see what you had to say about it in the YouTube comments. Here's a Ratomatic now to show us how we both scored Apocalypse Now. A cool and an awesome. I really appreciate this film for what it's attempting to accomplish, but that isn't an excuse for its egotistical and bloated scenes toward the end of the movie that really hurt its effectiveness. I had to give it a 7. While some of you agreed with me regarding this film's slow pace, many were able to overlook that fact, praising the film for its visual style and iconic imagery of the Vietnam War, scoring it a 9 out of 10. Our second film tonight is the World War II story from director Steven Spielberg, Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks stars as Captain John Miller, who similarly to Sheen's character in Apocalypse Now is assigned a team of soldiers and tasked with venturing into hostile territory to find a single man. As the title suggests, that man is Private Ryan, a young soldier who recently lost all 3 of his brothers fighting elsewhere in the war. Fearful that Ryan's mother will get all 4 death notices for her children at the same time, Miller is dispatched to bring Ryan home safe and sound to prevent such a tragedy. The film opens with a now famous 27-minute scene, faithfully and rather ambitiously recreating the Allies' Normandy invasion on Omaha Beach on D-Day. The scene is a visceral experience to behold, truly implanting the viewer into the horrors of a war zone, especially so if the scene is watched with surround sound. From there we follow Miller and his team through war-torn France as they search for Ryan while attempting to stay alive. Tom Sizemore, Ted Danson, Jeremy Davies, Matt Damon, Nathan Fillion, and Paul Giamatti are some of the names in this mammoth cast, which unfortunately are rarely developed to any emotional satisfaction. Scene after scene, our heroes are risking their lives and dying in battle, but only a select few of them actually receive any backstory, making the middle of the film feel more like a video game than an Academy Award-winning drama. The last act, however, brings together the survivors in one final battle against the Germans, in an amazingly impressive sequence that combines all of the incredible editing and camera work of the beachhead assault with the emotional development of Miller's character from earlier in the movie, making for a gut-wrenching and entertaining battle. In a present-day setting that bookends the film, it's difficult not to well up as we witness a veteran thanking the graves of his friends who died in battle over 50 years ago. As always, Hanks is the embodiment of talent and class, bringing to life a nuanced soldier who must struggle with his thoughts of returning home and keeping his company alive. Spielberg won his second Academy Award for directing here, which is of course more than well deserved. Everything from the chaotic battle scenes to the quiet moments of dialogue are carefully choreographed and filmed, ensuring the audience never feels lost during the movie's 169-minute runtime. If you ever wanted to understand or appreciate the glory and disaster of war from the comfort of your own home, you need not look any further than Saving Private Ryan. War personified, an emotional quest. Well, those are my thoughts on the film. Now let's see what you had to say about it in the YouTube comments. Back again, the Rate-O-Matic to score Saving Private Ryan, a 9 out of 10. This film is perhaps the very best war movie ever made, but for me it was lacking a bit of cohesion in the first half of the movie for me to really score it a perfect 10. But it was most certainly a solid awesome. Few of you had anything negative to say about this film, praising the movie for its effects, characters, and battle scenes, rating it an amazing. But that does it for tonight's films, so now let's take a look at what's currently playing in theaters with some tweet critiques. Remember, if you're going to the movies this weekend, make sure to submit your Twitter review using the JPMN hashtag to have it featured on an upcoming episode. Next week, to close out the second season of Movie Night, we'll be once again examining the greatest films of all time, as I highlight yet another 10 of my personal favorites. But I'll need your help to update our list for the best movies ever made, so if you didn't leave a comment last week, please leave one below with your top 5 favorite films. I'll tally the results and reveal our most popular selections in next week's episode. But until then, my name is Jonathan Paula. Thank you for watching Movie Night. I hope to see you right back here next Friday.